Be back. And, you know, we got today's Father's Day, the first day of summer. Man, and the world just seems to just spin out of control and everything else, but thank God we got a stable God, right? And that we know we have a God that has all things in control. You know, there's a song I remember when I was a little tiny kid, we used to sing, He's got the whole world in His hands. You know, and I remember that was a big song on the radio even way back then. And a little English boy was singing that song. And it just, it's amazing how true that is if we allow that to happen. And it's amazing how true it is when we recognize who is the Father, who is really the Father. And that I know I have failed as a father. A lot of fathers have failed as fathers, and that you know, but God the Father hasn't failed us. We're the ones that fail Him, and He's the one that is more than willing to have us to come back home and say, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned. I have fell short of your glory. And He forgives us. And, you know, there's times in our lives where we are in different positions, where I know I have just lost a close friend that has had a heart for liberty and freedom for America that we have lost. And she had just passed away from cancer this week. And, you know, so many of us have close friends and relatives that are in care facilities like this, or we have them in hospitals, or they're in hospice care facilities, or maybe at home having hospice care. And it gives us a time to reflect. Who are we serving? And who should we be serving? You know, we don't have to wait until our deathbed to turn to Jesus Christ. We have nothing to be ashamed of to mention that God the Father is our Heavenly Father, and that He is the Prince of our lives and the King of our lives. That He is the only one that can bring true liberty and peace into our hearts. Because there is no serenity and no peace without His standards. I don't care what political party you belong to. I don't care what denomination of faith that you have. And quite frankly, I don't think God the Father does either. Because He's after principles and values. He's after a personal relationship with each one of us. And if we have His principles and values, and we live by His standard, somebody might say, well, what is His standard? Then all I can say is that you haven't read the basic information before leaving Earth manual, which is the Bible. That's what the Bible is. It's the Word and the truth. For He's the one that said, I am the truth. And I am the Word. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. There was nothing before Him, and there's nothing after Him. He is the Spirit. He is the one who spoke all things into creation. He is the lover of your soul. We don't have to make ourselves perfect, because He will make us perfect in Him if we choose to follow in His footsteps. If we choose to follow His principles and His values and His standards. That's why America once was a great nation. That is why we had liberty and justice for all. That's why We were a land of the free. That's why people came from all over the world to seek a home here in America, so they can experience that freedom that God has given all mankind. Because we followed his covenant. We followed his word. We developed this nation on his principles and his values, not that of man. That we allow God the Father to rule us. We allow God the Father to set the example. And we, as dads, we as fathers, have so many times failed our children. And maybe your father had failed you, but you would still love him. There's something unique about that we know truly in our hearts, that we can be rebellious, but yet we know that there is only one Father. And maybe that Father isn't so nice, but we can forgive him because we know the Heavenly Father's principles and values. And we can love him through that. That's why God says we can even love the sinner, but we don't love the sin that the sinner's doing. But we forgive him. But we love him for what he is. Because he is a creation of God. But it's God that is the one that has the final word. He is the King of all kings and the Lord of all lords. That we have given ourselves over to him, that we would grow in him, that we would follow in his footsteps. And that's what we do. And God bless each and every one of you.
Amen.